Well, hi everybody, we're back. Welcome to Afterburner. About a month ago, I got an email from a young man who just happened to be a Marine Corps fighter pilot who wanted to know if I'd like to drive down to Miramar, California, just to take a walk out on the flight line maybe, and then perhaps spend a couple of hours in the simulator they use to train Marine Corps pilots in air-to-air and air-to-ground combat. I wrote him back and told him I might be able to find a way to clear my schedule. My friend Dana and I flew down to San Diego on our own little fighter airplane. It's called a Sky Arrow. Of course, the F-18s over at Miramar fly at 800 knots. My little airplane wouldn't do 100 knots if you cut it into little pieces and dropped it out of another airplane, but these do. That, ladies and gentlemen, is an F-18D, the meanest looking piece of iron ever to inhabit the skies, and that mountain of a man standing next to me is Captain Matt Malott, who picked us up over at Montgomery Field and brought us over to Miramar. Matt's from the heart of Pennsylvania. His call sign is Amish. Supersonic, 500-pound, laser-guided, all-weather Amish, I call him. Like every single other person I met there, he is a friendly, polite, competent, strong, intelligent, and decent family man. You climb the stairs to the briefing rooms in Miramar, and each stair in front of you has a word written on it. Integrity, courage, honor, knowledge, skill, teamwork, stuff like that. You climb the stairs at a Hollywood talent agency and the words are avarice, betrayal, petulance, posturing, narcissism. It's a whole different world down there with a few good men. We got to see the maintenance hangar where they work on these birds. I own an AR-15 rifle, and before last week I thought I owned a gun, but the AR-15 is not a gun. That's a gun. But the thing that impressed me the most in that hangar were actually just a few sandwich bags full of leaves and sticks and the occasional nut or screw taped to the wall. It's a little FOD collection, foreign object debris, and every day they go out there, walking slowly, looking down at their feet, patrolling an area the size of Denver, trying to find that one little twig or branch or screw that's going to get sucked into a jet engine and ruin somebody's day. Those little baggies impressed me so much. Who else do you know who takes that kind of care? What other company is run that tightly? The safety record of military aviation is astonishing considering what they do on a daily basis, and yet it is never good enough. You can't imagine the trouble that the men and women at Miramar go to every single day to keep up a safety record that is not good enough if it's simply good enough or even great. It has to be perfect. Hey, speaking of perfect, let me tell you how I did in that F-18 sim. I did make one mistake, and that was right at the very beginning. I pushed those throttles past the 100% power detent and into full afterburners. We were at 120 knots in the time it takes to say that we were at 120 knots. Little back pressure, 8-degree climb rate, and even though the sim doesn't move as it does in full motion civilian simulators, being inside the 360-degree ping pong ball gave me an absolute sensation of movement. It blew my mind. So much so that when I got over it enough to retract the landing gear, we were already over the virtual shoreline at 450 virtual knots. My virtual landing gear had been ripped off the virtual F-18, and my fervent hope is that it fell into the parking lot of a virtual Starbucks and dented the hood of a virtual Prius. And I told Matt that all I really wanted during my time in the sim was full realism. I didn't care if I didn't accomplish anything. I didn't care if I broke the airplane, but I wanted full realism. And my friends, I was a sight to see. Ground attack with rockets, walk in the park. One strafing run on the San Clemente Tower, I probably fried some chickens as I pulled up out over a farm, but that was good too. Formation flying, piece of cake. I got started in gliders, you see, so the very first time I ever flew an airplane by myself, I was in formation 100 feet behind a tow plane. With the guns, they wouldn't let me use the missiles, and against a highly skilled pilot, that's the best the sim had, I nailed 5 or 6 guys with guns alone. My first turns were way too fast. Roll into the bank over Oceanside, be halfway around the turn somewhere around Phoenix, Arizona. 450 knots or so is where that big bad bug wants to turn, and I am sweating as if I'm doing actual work for a change, both arms hauling back on that stick, trying to keep an eye on that other F-18. But I knew that if I could get that guy in front of my wings, he was going to die, and he did, many times. It was epic. And then, finally, Matt asked me if I wanted to land on the boat. Now, contrary to popular belief, it's actually not that hard to land an F-18 on a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. What's hard to do is to do it in such a way that the carrier remains afloat. To do it so that you can use the airplane again, well, that's just the hardest thing in all of aviation. So there I was, 150 knots in trail, velocity vector on the angle of attack, E-bracket, little high, oh, full afterburner, bang, off the deck, and around we go. Bolter, first try. Second try. There are 4 arresting cables on the deck of an aircraft carrier. Any one of them will stop you, but the third wire is perfection. At 180 miles per hour, you need to put the tail of that monster jet, which is way, way back there, between wires that are 15 yards apart. I wanted that third wire so bad I could taste it. So here comes the deck, full burners. You don't have the luxury to wait and see if you caught the wire. It's full burners on impact or you and your jet are in the water. I'm on the deck, but I'm not slowing down. Damn it, it was too high again. Another bolter. I'm going to get this thing if it kills me, so help me God. So down when we go. And then at that exact instant, 5 miles in trail, turning for my third try, came the high point of my day, my week, my year, and maybe even my life. In my headsets, I heard Amish say, shooter 13, turn left heading 080, descend and maintain 1,400. And then it hit me. Just for a moment, for a few minutes only, I was doing the one thing in life I'd wanted to do more than anything else. For a few moments, at 52 years old, I was shooter 13, just another Marine aviation trainee in VM FAT 101, the sharpshooters, out of Miramar, California, trying to land 30,000 pounds of supersonic steel and aluminum in 500 feet of a floating city powered by dying atoms. And I did it too, on the third try. I didn't get the third wire, but I got the fourth. And I did remember to come out of Afterburners once the deck stopped moving. There's a story about a new nugget who kept missing again and again and again. And when he finally got her down on the deck, the air boss got on the radio and said, son, come on back on the power. You're not going to make the boat go any faster. So here's what I learned. You don't always get what you want in life. If you're 6'5", you're not going to be a professional jockey. And if you're 5'5", you're not going to play for the NBA, no matter how badly you want it and no matter how hard you try. But you can still play basketball or ride a horse or fly an airplane and do it well. You know, Matt told Dana that if I landed on the carrier with full realism settings, he was going to take off his flight suit and hand it to me. I didn't get the flight suit, but I did get this. I think it's my most prized possession. And there's something else too. You know, the Greek definition of happiness is using all of your powers to maximum effect. I was radiantly happy for a few hours down there at Miramar. In fact, I've been happy all week. The Marines I met down there seem to be pretty damn happy too. I think it's because they're using all of their powers to maximum effect in the service of goodness and freedom and you and me. If you're a young person, you may want to think about joining them. I wasn't good enough, 5 feet of focus in my left eye, but you might be. And then finally, there's this. We, as a people, can learn a lot from the people I met down in Miramar that day. We can be respectful, competent, knowledgeable, courageous, decent, and strong. We're born that way. We really are. We deserve better than these charlatans and incompetents that are spending and regulating us into utter ruin and imbecility. We're still the land of opportunity, the land of the free, and the home of the brave. So go find what you love doing and do that. If you can make a living at it, awesome. You'll be happy for the rest of your life. If not, do it anyway. Go find that one thing and be good at it. You won't believe how you feel when you realize that after a lifetime of effort and study, you not only can fly, you can even walk the walk.